Welcome to Wardour Road and join me as we turn this into this. Hi guys and welcome back to Wardour Road, and we're going to do a little bit of a different video today. We're going to be looking at Westhill Wagon Works' newest product, which is the OO gauge 6-foot batten lighting. So I'll post some pictures up throughout this with what it looks like once it's fully completed, but today we're going to go through the contents of the pack, how to assemble it, and then what it looks like fitted to a, well, here I'm going to be using a fueling point, very kindly donated to me, not donated, gifted to me by P&D Marsh Models, so I'll leave a link to them in the description below. It's not quite finished yet, there's still a couple of other components to put into this, but I thought while I've got it in this stage, we can have a go at fitting these lights. So one of these has already been won by Peaks47 in my giveaway competition, so that's going out to him. So he's going to be getting the cool white pack, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the warm white pack. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. This video is sponsored by Westhill Wagon Works, so huge shout out to them. A link will also be in the description as well. And yeah, let's get on with the video. So first things first, when you get the pack, it also comes with instructions, and you're introduced to this chap called Jeremy, as you can see in this top left here, and he pretty much goes through everything you need to do to complete the kit. And as you can see, it's not very complicated. So I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, but I'm sure I should be able to give this a good go and get it all running. So yeah, join me as we get on with this. So here we have the packaging, and I'm just going to open it up and we can have a look at the contents. So in the packaging you've got 8 pre-wired LED lights, and they all come pre-resisted, so with heat shrinking around it, so you don't have to worry about playing around with the thin wires and the resistors. That's all done for you. Also comes with 4 white battens, which are these here, and 4 clear tubes, which will make up the 3 components for the light. So what you're going to need to make this, very simple really, some cocktail sticks or a sharp point. I've got loads of cocktail sticks, so I'm just going to use them. Some blue tack, just got a whole big pack of it here. Very comes in handy in the hobby for sure, especially when it comes to doing fiddly things like this. And finally, some super glue or gel glue, which is recommended. So I'm going to be using the Gorilla Glue, the super glue gel. It's the one that comes in the green lid. The normal super glue comes in the blue lid, but I use this on pretty much everything, so this should make this whole job super easy. So let's get started by constructing them. First thing you need to do is get your white battens and the clear tubes, and what you're going to want to do is super glue the tube rough side down to the base of here. Now you only need a tiny bit of super glue, so what we're going to do is make sure we can see which side's the rough side. So yeah, as you can see on here, don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but you can see there's a rough side and a smooth side. Rough side's just here on this side. So the way we're going to want to glue it in is in like that. So one thing to point out when you are assembling this, as you can see I've made one here already. With this white batten there are actually holes in each end of the batten. Let me find one that I haven't done. So as you can see there's a hole there and a hole at the other end there. So when you're putting in the clear white tube and you put a dab of glue in the middle, you can slide the tube in one end and then very gently bend this other end back to get the tube in the other end, and you'll find that's not going anywhere. So just a little tip to remember there, so save you trying to snap or trim down this clear tube, it actually fits perfectly into both ends, and as you can see that's going nowhere. So we're on to probably the most fiddly part of the process, which isn't that fiddly really. It's actually quite a simple kit to put together, but as you can see I put the white batten here in blue tack, and what I'm going to need to do now is grab 2 LEDs out of the 8 that you get, remembering that the positive side is the one with the resistor and the negative side is the one without the resistor. And then what you're going to want to do is put glue there, there, there and there, only the tiniest bit of the super glue gel. And then this is just a dry run, but we're just going to show you what the idea is, and you feed it into that hole just there like so, and that should stay in place once it's glued. So yeah, just into that square there and that square there. So I'm now going to get on with that, and then I'll join you back in a second. What I've done here actually to make the glue easier to apply is I've just used the paper that it comes with, just to put a double glue on there, so that way you're not trying to squeeze a whole double glue, especially if you're coming out of the small nozzle on the Gorilla Glues. There's a really small nozzle on the end of these, so I'll put a little bit on a piece of paper here, just so it means I can then take the tiniest bit off, probably less than that actually, just enough to put into these corner areas here, just like that. So yeah, tiniest bit of glue on the end of the cocktail stick, and then as the Blu-Tac's holding it in place, you can just dab the super glue round the square hole where the LEDs are going to fit. You really don't need much at all, so really do not overdo it. A tiny bit more along here. So now it's ready for the LEDs to go in. So as you can see there, I've actually just used a clean cocktail stick just to help me, without pushing my fingers into it or anything, just to help me get the LED right exactly where I want it. And that's the second LED. Now it's important to make sure you take your time with this. There's no point rushing it, because you don't want to then start getting these LEDs stuck all over the place. But as you can see there, both of those LEDs are now in position. So according to the instructions, it's time to have a cup of tea. So I'm going to just let this glue dry. It should only take a few minutes anyway. And join me back in a couple of minutes. So it's been a few minutes, and as you can see here, the glue is set. Now it depends really how you want to do the wiring. For this, I'm just going to run the wires down one side of this fueling point, so they'll be behind this, so you won't be able to see it. So what I've done here is I've twisted the wires just around the back of this like so, which means then I can glue this down on here like that, and then run the wires down the side of the fueling point. So I'm just going to glue this down, and then we'll get it plugged in and have a look. So that's those lights glued in there, and as you can see already, not only does it look more realistic, but it actually takes up a lot less space than the LED strips that you could normally use. And I think once these are weathered as well, obviously it really depends what type of depot you're going for. This is going to be a really heavily weathered, sort of worn down depot. There's not going to be much use. It's going to be sitting here quite unloved for a while. And yeah, so that's it stuck in position. I'd obviously put one on the other side, but let's get this plugged in just to see how much light we can get off just these two LEDs. So as you can see here now, it's been a little while, and I've just glued the cables from the rear of the light down this inside sort of trunking, if you like. There's an ingrove in here to put cables and various bits, and then the cables just come off the bottom here. So just to give you guys an idea as well of the size difference, this is what some people, not everyone, some people would use to light up areas like this, and this is just a 3 LED strip. They both run on 12 volts. However, you can see the size difference and how much less realistic this looks compared to the strip lights here. So let's just turn it on, and there you go. You can dim them down by adding more resistors, although I'm quite happy with the brightness of this. So if we just stand it up, and you'll just have to imagine that the wires aren't there. You're getting, let me just turn this light off. You get a nice warm glow from these lights, and they're not seeping through them. Well, obviously they wouldn't seep through the metal, but I'm really pleased with how these have come out. They're much less bright than you'd get with these strips. Of course, you can turn these strips down, but if you're going for that extra level of realism, I think this is definitely the product for you. So let's just turn that off and get another view of them. You see when you turn them off as well, they actually fade out, which is pretty cool. That is definitely a more common, well, a way more realistic look at the other LEDs. Looks like proper nice strip lighting. And if you imagine them wires there, so if I do it from that angle where the wires are slowly disappearing, that's a real nice look. And I will have hopefully inserted some pictures of what it looks like on a slightly more professional setup, but just for the just for the sort of the starting idea, just to give you guys a rough idea of what it will look like once they're in position. I couldn't recommend these any more than I already have actually, so I will be using these on my depot exhibition layout that I'm working on, and I'm also going to be using these in my diorama that I work on a Tuesday night. So I hope you've picked up some tips from this video. I hope my instructions were in-depth enough for you guys to be able to take this on yourself. It's not a difficult kit to make, and they do come in the cool white and the warm white. This is the warm white. At the time of filming this, they are currently temporarily sold out on the West Hill Wagon Works website. They are £10 a pack, and you get, as I mentioned before, you get 4 of these to make up inside each pack. So definitely worth the money. It's £2.50 a light. But yeah, this has been the review of the West Hill Wagon Works 6-foot lighting kit. Hope you enjoyed. There will be a link to their website in the description, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.